guys, it's Janelle here. I'm one of your retail business coaches with Canadian Retail Solutions, and I'm also an independent retailer. Today's topic is one that has been very hot in my client discussions lately, and that is, should I take my brick and mortar store online? Well, there's lots to consider when deciding whether or not an e-commerce component to your business is the right fit for you. And I am coming at this from the standpoint of an apparel retailer. However, these considerations are absolutely relevant regardless of what retail vertical you are in. So an online presence these days is absolutely essential. You need to have a website that describes your location, your hours of operation, what you do, what you're really good at, what makes you different from your competition. In addition to that, social media is a very important and relevant part of what we do. So that's Facebook or Instagram or a whole host of other social media channels. Hot tip, choose 2 social media platforms, leave the rest. Be very good at what you do. So be good at those 2 social media platforms. So everything we do as independent retailers is to make our customer experience the best experience it can be with our company. And having an e-commerce store can certainly contribute to making that experience the best it can be when e-commerce is done correctly. Why do an e-commerce store? Well, it's seemingly passive income. You set it up and you just watch the sales roll in, right? Well, there's a little more to it than that, but we'll get into it. Also, an e-commerce store is a great channel for revenue during slower times or after hours. For example, maybe you have people that work shift work that are your customers and they have a hard time making it in during your hours of operation. While they are perhaps on their lunch break at midnight, they can be shopping your e-commerce store and still have that great experience with your business. In addition, the e-commerce stores are a really good opportunity for your customers to get a preview of what you offer in your store before they actually come in and visit. So much of commerce is done these days with an online influence, meaning that shoppers do research online and then make the purchase in store. So that's a great thing that e-commerce can do for your business. Now, I said earlier, e-commerce can be great if it's done correctly. So how do we do it right? Okay. Everything we do, we have to do right. So our images and descriptions on our e-commerce site, those images have to be gorgeous. So you have to have images that represent your brand and your product, and they represent your store the same way you do it in store. The descriptions of those products have to use the same language that your salespeople, your team would use in the store. They need to mirror that terminology and the language you use in store. This I cannot stress enough. In order to do e-commerce correctly, you need to have it fully integrated with your point of sale system. Why is that? Well, picture this. You're on vacation as a retailer, all those vacations you take. I know, we don't take vacations. Anyway, so you're on your 1 afternoon off per week and you get an email from your e-commerce site saying, hooray, you received an order. Well, that is awesome. We should be excited about this, right? Well, if your e-commerce platform is not integrated with your point of sale system, what you could actually have is an email saying, hooray, you got an order on your e-commerce platform, and you're sitting there looking at your phone thinking, oh crap, do I have that inventory in my store? That's not exactly what we want when we have an e-commerce order. So if it's integrated with our point of sale system, we can ensure that our merchandise in our point of sale system matches what's on our e-commerce site. Therefore, if someone places an order, we can be confident that we actually do have that merchandise to fulfill their order. So integrate with your point of sale system. Can't state that enough. So merchandise. Speaking about merchandise, we have to have enough merchandise on our e-commerce site, enough of a variety to properly represent what we have in store. It's got to represent our in-store product assortment, or people will just assume, oh, those 2 pairs of jeans they have on their website, that's all they have in their store. I'm not going to bother going in. Okay, so make sure you have enough merchandise. In addition, this is a great consideration, labor. You need skilled labor either on staff or you need to source it out in order to keep those quality images on your website. Sometimes you can get them from your brands, but you need to keep your descriptions up to date too. And you constantly, just like in your own brick and mortar stores, we need to be adding fresh goods to those e-commerce sites as well. Another thing to consider with labor is you need someone on staff who's available to fulfill those orders. So especially if you have a store where you have really lean inventory and you maybe only have 1 or 2 of each item, you have it on your e-commerce store as well as in your brick and mortar store. You need someone in store to be pulling those goods from the sales floor as soon as that e-commerce order comes in. Otherwise, you may accidentally run the risk of selling out of that item in store before being able to fulfill that order from your from your e-commerce site. So have enough people on staff that can do those product descriptions, those images, and pull those orders for your e-com site. So now that we know how to do e-commerce correctly, what are some other things to consider? Well, your e-commerce customer might be a different customer than you see in store. So our in-store customer of our independent stores really values that in-store experience, and a lot of the times they'll pay more for that. There is value in the experience we offer with our trained team and with just the environment we offer. A lot of times independents offer refreshments, and you really just, develop relationships and get to know these people. Our customers will pay more for that. The online shopper can be price driven. Online shopper can be price driven. It's so easy to search several websites for the exact same item, and likely that online shopper could very well purchase from the cheapest online source or the fastest shipping, depending on what is their value proposition for that particular online customer. So do you have a unique product that cannot be found anywhere else online? If that's the case, then you can charge whatever you need to for that item without being impacted by that potentially price-sensitive online shopper. In addition, perhaps you have the ability to ship faster than your online competitors do. That might be something that means a lot to some of your online shoppers. So, if those are some considerations, those are some sort of legs up you have over the competition, awesome. Another consideration, in addition to our unique customer for e-commerce, is shipping. Who's going to pay for shipping? Most e-commerce sites have free shipping if you spend over a certain transaction volume. So if you need to do that on your e-commerce site, can you do that and maintain your margins and balance that with that e-commerce customer who can be price sensitive? Interestingly, a study done by the Wall Street Journal in 2018 said that 80% of online customers expect free shipping on returns. 25% of online merchants provide that. What are you going to do in your e-commerce site for return shipping? Are you going to provide it for free? Certainly something to consider. Now, to alleviate the challenge of shipping, a lot of independents that have e-commerce have a buy online and pick up in store setup. So that is an opportunity for your customer to come in store and pick up the goods that they ordered online. The great thing about that is the customer always goes home with the correct style, size, color. In addition, it gives the opportunity for your awesome team to provide add-ons to that online sale. So shipping is definitely something to consider. Another consideration is returns. So this same survey in the Wall Street Journal in 2018 found that online returns can be 20% of the gross revenue of an e-commerce site. That's a lot. A lot of times when you have, say, an out-of-town customer, someone who's never visited your store or worn the brands you carry, that's when things can be tricky. That's when you're going to see a higher return rate. However, if your shoppers are people who have been in your store and or are familiar with the brands you carry, that's going to reduce the rate of returns. So in September of 2018, interestingly, Shopify published some stats about e-commerce returns. 41% of online shoppers buy multiple sizes or variations with the intent of returning. So that means that 41% of e-commerce shoppers purchase multiples or many of the same thing, intending to return several of the items that they purchased. So keep that in mind, that merchandise is going to be out of your store and off your sales floor for a couple of weeks while it's in transit between you and the customer. In addition, Shopify found that 77% of returns from e-commerce sales come from repeat customers. So people that have already purchased from you, they are planning to return, or they will do a return on your e-commerce site. 89% of online shoppers surveyed have returned something from an online purchase. So certainly returns are something to keep in mind when thinking about doing an e-commerce store. Now, in addition, I have to mention this again, the in-store pickup is a great way to alleviate some of those returns. In fact, it's a great way to alleviate nearly all of them, because again, your shopper comes into the store and you have the opportunity to ensure they're getting exactly what they need: size, color, style, etc. The last thing to consider when thinking about adding e-commerce to your business, and this is so important, we always have to consider the ROI, or the return on investment. Can your e-commerce site independently generate 3 to 5% of your entire store's gross revenue within about 6 months of launching this e-commerce site? And can it begin to generate 10 to 12% of your entire store's gross revenue within 12 months and stay there? That is definitely an important consideration. And by the way, you need to measure the e-commerce statistics and sales and all of that jazz independently of the ROI and all the different measurements you take for your brick and mortar store. So you want to have your e-commerce statistics almost like a separate location. So make sure you're measuring those independently. So guys, to review, when considering whether or not to add e-commerce to your brick and mortar store, you got to do it right. Okay, everything we do is to maintain that awesome customer experience. So make sure that your e-commerce site continues to allow you to offer that awesome customer experience. Have great imaging and on-brand language and descriptions on your e-commerce site. Absolutely make sure it's integrated with your point of sale system. Have enough great people on staff to ensure that imaging and brand language is primo on that website, and that they're there to be able to fulfill the online orders. Make sure that shipping is considered. Are you going to offer free shipping? How is that going to work? Are you going to do in-store pickup? Be cognizant that returns are certainly a reality with e-commerce site, and absolutely measure your return on investment of your e-commerce site, so you know whether or not you're getting the most out of that element of your business, or more than you're putting in. Guys, take your time to evaluate these points when deciding whether or not to add that e-commerce component to your brick and mortar store. And in the meantime, while you're doing it, happy retailing.